In the liberal ideology, there's two different types of liberals. There's the moderate liberal and there's the extremist liberal. The moderate liberals are more reasonable. They're more rational. The extremist liberals are what we call SJWs, regressive leftists. These are people that think every black person should think the same way. And if you're a black person that disagrees with SJWs, they will call you a coon. They will call you a house nigga. They will call you an Uncle Tom. They will call you a sellout for simply disagreeing with their extremist point of view. Now I'm going to talk about police brutality versus black on black crime and how I believe both issues need to be addressed. Now, even though 10 times more black people are killed by black on black crime, SJWs only want to address police brutality. 95% of black people who are killed from black on black crime. But SJWs only want to address police killings. They only want to address black killings when it's a white cop killing a black suspect. A lot of SJWs think if you speak against black on black crime, you must be against addressing police brutality, when that's not the case. There's a lot of people like myself that want to address both issues. I think police brutality needs to be addressed, and I think black on black crime needs to be addressed. If you really care about black lives, then both issues should be addressed. The problem I have with a lot of black liberals and SJWs and social justice warriors is they only want to address one issue, and that's police violence. They only want to blame everything on the police, when everything is not the police's fault. There's two sides of the problem. There's two sides of the argument. And I think you have to address both sides of the argument in order to solve the problem. If any black person speaks against this gang violence, speaks against the Bloods and Crips, speaks against the gangster disciples, black liberals will call you a coon. They will call you a house nigga. They will call you a race traitor for speaking against gang violence, for speaking against black on black crime, when this is what's killing the majority of black people. Now, I believe police brutality is a problem. I think police brutality needs to be addressed. But I also think inner city violence needs to be addressed. You can't say you want to address one and not address the other. That's hypocritical. That's the problem I have with Black Lives Matter. They think black lives only matter when it's a white person killing a black person. But when it's a black person killing another black person, they don't give a damn. They don't want to address that issue. And they will get mad at somebody for even addressing the issue. Black on black crime and police brutality goes hand in hand. Inner city violence and police brutality goes hand in hand. This is why both issues should be addressed equally. You can't say you want to address one but not address the other. The only way to stop aggressive policing, you have to stop inner city violence. Because if any city you go to has a lot of violence, you're going to have aggressive police. Any city you go to in America that has a lot of violence, they're going to have more aggressive police. And then when you go to a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of violence, you're going to have less aggressive police. So the only way to stop aggressive policing is to stop the inner city violence. This is why both issues should be addressed. Both issues should be protested against. That's the only way you're going to stop the killing on both sides. The problem I have with a lot of black liberals, like Eric Dyson and Al Sharpton and Boyce Watkins, is they only want to address police killings. They only want to address white cops killing black people. But they don't want to address black on black killing. They don't want to address the gangs killing thousands of black children every year. The Bloods and Crips kill thousands of black children every year, which is 10 times more than any police has ever done. But these black liberals don't want to address the issue of black on black violence. I believe both issues should be addressed. You can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. A lot of black liberals act like if you address black on black crime, you can't address police brutality, when we need to address both. You don't have to address one and not the other. We should address both if we really care about black lives. If we really care about black lives, then both issues should be addressed. It's hypocritical and contradicting to say you're only going to address police violence, but you're not going to address black on black violence. That's hypocritical. When 9-year-old Tayshaun Lee was executed by gang thugs, this 9-year-old boy was executed by gang thugs. Black Lives Matter didn't say a damn word. They never said a damn word about Tayshaun Lee's death. They never said a damn word about Hadiya Pendleton's death. They never said a damn word about all the thousands of black kids being killed in Chicago. Thousands of black kids being murdered by these gangs in Chicago. But Black Lives Matter won't say a damn word. They won't say a word against the violence that goes on in Chicago. So far this year, there's over 500 black people that have been killed in Chicago. There's more black people being killed in Chicago than all the police shootings combined together nationwide. Let me repeat that again. There's more black people who are killed in Chicago this year than all the police shootings nationwide combined together. That's how bad it is. So if you really care about black lives, and you're not speaking against the gangs and thugs, you're not speaking against the Bloods and Crips, you're not speaking against the gangster disciples, if you're not speaking against this violence, then you don't give a damn about black lives. You're just trying to play the victim. And the reason why a lot of black liberals and regressive leftists only want to address police violence but don't want to address inner city violence is because it goes against their narrative. It goes against their victim narrative. You can't play the victim when it's two black people killing each other. You can only play the victim when it's a white person killing a black person. And this is why a lot of pro-blacks only want to address black killing when it's a white person killing a black person. They only want to address black death when it's a white person killing a black person. When it's a black person killing a black person, they don't give a shit. They don't give a damn. And they will call any person a coon. They will call any person a sellout who speaks out against this violence. Who speaks out against this inner city violence. These are the people really fighting against black violence. The people that speak against black on black crime, these are the people really fighting against these are the people really fighting against oppression. These are the people really fighting to save black lives. What Black Lives Matter is doing is counterproductive because they're only addressing one half of the problem. They're only addressing one half of the problem and not addressing the other half of the problem. And the only way you're going to stop police brutality, you have to stop inner city violence. Both issues need to be addressed. We all know police brutality is a problem in America, but so is inner city violence. The only way you're going to stop police brutality, you have to stop inner city violence. When you go to cities that don't have a lot of violence, they don't have any aggressive police. Like in my hometown of Akron, Ohio. I grew up in Akron, Ohio. We don't have a lot of aggressive police in my city because we don't have a lot of violence. With less violence, you have less aggressive police. Now, when you go to a city like Cleveland or a city like Detroit or a city like Chicago, you have out of control violence. You have violence all over the city. People being killed by the hundreds on a monthly basis. When you have that type of violence, you're going to have more aggressive police. The police are going to be more aggressive. So the only way to stop that aggressive police, you have to stop the inner city violence. This is what Black Lives Matter doesn't realize. Because they're only addressing one half of the problem, they're not addressing the other half of the problem. Because if you really care about black lives, and you really want to stop the killing on both sides, you have to address both sides. If you want to stop the killing, you have to address both sides. The problem I have with black liberals in Black Lives Matter is they only want to address what the police are doing. They only want to talk about the police. They just want to blame everything on the police. When the police are just one half of the problem. You have to address the inner city violence. That's how you stop the aggressive police. So a lot of people need to stop being hypocrites. Start practicing what you preach. If you really care about black lives, then you can't sit back and ignore gang killings killing black children all over the country. You can't sit back and ignore all these kids being killed by these gangs. Both police brutality and black on black crime need to be protested against. You have to address both issues in order to stop the violence in the black community. Everybody has different opinion about this topic. Leave a comment, rate and subscribe.